Hello, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here. All right, for the past 2 days, I got a couple strange emails, but I don't care. I deal with whatever I get, good, bad, or indifferent. Uh, People think they're helping me. People think they can. People want to try, but I'm here to help use people, not you to help me. I know what I know. I got to do what I got to do. I don't think like most people. I don't act like most people, and I'm not like most people. I never smoked, never drank, never got drunk. All right. I don't believe in lying. I don't believe in cheating. Don't believe in hurting women at any level. So my morals are pretty much straightforward. I don't believe in killing. I think it's that thing that nobody on this planet has the right to do. So people say, well, you didn't ask this, you didn't say that. Well, anybody that has any important questions, please ask me. I'll answer if I can, and I most likely can if they're pertaining to our topic or our topics that we use. People talk about the UFO world. I've been in it all my life, people. I didn't want to be. I didn't want it to be part of my life. But when you're brought into something and you're forced into it, it's a different story. It becomes totally different. I don't know if I can see that way or not. It doesn't matter. But one of the persons said, listed all my topics. Obviously, they listened to them or they wouldn't know all the topics. Well, thank you for listening. And I know you don't like what I say, but that's what most people do. Don't like the truth. Oh, well, how do I have the truth? Nobody else does. Well, it's called how many people know everything? How many people know nothing? How many people know what everybody else knows? Everybody's different. I had 5 death experiences. I spent 45 years traveling out of my body. I studied with medicine people, shamans, deities, angels. All right. I traveled in the world for about 40 years as well. The 5 death experiences I had taught me a lot. I'm not saying you need to have them, but you need to learn the most important thing in this reality is how to get out of your body. And I'm not calling remote viewing because that's evil. It's a psychic ability, but it's not a positive one. Same as remote viewing. People, there's things that you need to learn in this life, and it's not about going to school, what you learn in school, going to college, what you learn in college. It's not about having sex. It's not about having drugs, doing drugs, or any of that. It's not about any of that. What do you think you're learning, and where do you think you're learning it? People dream. Yes, you dream, and you can learn so much in your dreams. And you really should do a workshop on your dreams, which I'll do a whole workshop on that alone. Because dreams are incredibly important. All right. Now, if you don't like what I say, you don't like what I'm doing, you don't need to be here. I can only tell you and give you what I know is truth in the way I can. I never went to college. I didn't learn how to read the right way. I was in 3rd grade reading off of sight cards. I never learned how to sound out a word. We never learned anything. Plus I had dyslexia and I had a few other things. So, yeah, it was all hard for me. All right. I'm not going to go into getting out of the body in detail today. I'm getting you prepared for what things we need to do in this life. All right. And prepare for what's going to happen to us. Okay, people. We're all going to die before we're 125 years old. Mr. Bazio is trying to create a medicine cure to make people live forever. Well, there's only one reason why you would want to live forever. Because you're afraid to go to heaven, afraid to die. Which is why we're going to talk about death today. All right. Death starts the second you're born. Every second you're getting closer to it. Buddha said that. Which is true. You're not getting closer to life, you're getting closer to death. Well, the physical body is. Now, I can only tell you from all my lives, back to Atlantis, to the present, the truth in between that. I studied just about every religion in each one of my lifetimes. Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, Jehovah, Hare Krishna, you name it. In one lifetime, I was one of them. There are 2,000 or even more now. I'm not saying I know every single one of them, but none of them talk about a real God. None of them talk about the truth in any great way. Two of them explain about getting out of the body, which is the most important thing you can learn in this reality. Talking to ghosts, spirits, demons, and aliens is going to help you get where. I mentioned the word matrix. People, if you don't know anything about the inner worlds, you know nothing about the matrix. The Matrix was a movie, yes, but somebody had an idea where it came from. Every thought comes from some form of reality, all right? I mean, somebody was teaching on how to get into the Akashic Records. I just saw that online today. It's on the astral plane. You could go to a place that has all your records, just like a library. I mean, they're not written out and stuff. It's a crystal, and it shows itself to people different ways as their level of awareness can accept it. But it's not beneficial to me. To you, it might be. You might learn of an invention and take it back. I mean, there's different things you could do when you go there, and that's why people go there. But you would have to be attached to this reality. Right? I started a couple minutes early because I wanted to get into a few things about letters and people writing. Skype me, talk to me. I'd rather talk in person than type. All right. We as people, all right, are here for one reason. Not everybody has a different one. We all don't have different stories and different missions. We believe that. We create that for ourselves. Now, I'm going to try to explain about life before I go into death. Soul comes here for one reason. It's not like it voluntarily says, I'm coming to Earth. No, it's not like that either, people. I'm not going to be able to give you the actual details. I'll explain what I know. You can get what you can out of it or not. Soul is a light and an energy, all right? Vibration. And it's a part of God. Take, like, say your body. Here's your body. Take one drop of blood and put it on a piece of paper. That's you. Not the body, not the mind, not the spirit, not the eyes, thought, mind, any of it. Just that dot that's on that piece of paper. So when you say you're one with God, you're one with that piece of paper. You're not one with God. You don't know God. You don't know anything about God, so you can't be one with it. You can think you are and say you are, but prove it. All right. When you're a soul of God and it allows it to come down to this realm, the physical reality, there's 5 major realms. I mean, there's 5 more after that, then there's 2 more after that. But the first 5 realms are where soul is mainly going to go in hundreds of thousands of years. All right. And it starts off as a being in the physical reality. Whether you're an alien, you could be an alien, you could be anything. I mean, to say that you were a dinosaur and a rabbit, and well, soul doesn't have to choose that if it doesn't want to, and it usually doesn't. Humans are the only one that has an ability to move forward, to be aware of actions and reactions and changing them. Animals don't. Creatures don't. Aliens don't have the compassion, feeling, and emotions and the 5 senses that the human body does. So their reality is totally different to them as well. All right. Now, I'm going to try to say this, and please, I'm not coming from ego. I don't want to come from ego. I don't want to come. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm not doing it for any other reason than to put the truth out there. If somebody hears it and it works for them, that's all that matters. I'll debate anybody. Even, I'll just say the book, Conversation with God. There is nothing in that book that nobody else ever said. For him to claim he talked to God, and that's all God said, really, if this was all about love, you think the world would be what it is? If God wanted this world to be love, you think it would be what it is right now? When the soul comes down, it isn't aware of anything. So it takes lifetimes for it to build its awareness. The soul, not the mind. When it reincarnates, that awareness is within that soul. But the mind gets wrapped up in this reality, which is due to a certain entity, to make sure that it doesn't become aware of that, because everybody would just leave. And then there'd be nobody in hell for them to play with. So life here is not what you perceive, not what you're programmed to believe, and it's not what you were taught. Now, I'm going to take this to a step for religions, which might hate me, but I don't care about other people. I'm responsible to God alone. All right. When Jesus came here, he had a teaching to give people. All right. saving somebody's sorry ass. No, it wasn't. You go through pain and suffering many lifetimes to learn. And if you don't learn, you'll stay here even longer. Hopefully. Now, here's a simple little thing. You reincarnate 100 to 300 times average, maybe a lot more, depending on where you are in your emotional body, mental body, spiritual body, and what you perceive and retain as truth for yourself as soul. All right, so when the soul comes into this world and they're here for the first time, they're learning many things. Luckily for me, my first 2 steps were giant steps. I wasn't born in a country starving with no people and no food, nothing. I was born on another planet, which I was aware of. My first incarnation. My second incarnation was in Atlantis, the most important time to be on this planet. Sorry, people, I don't care what you say. The Sumerians and everybody else, all these, the Anunnaki and all these other bull stories do not help soul move forward. If you stay attached to that, you will never move forward. If you think you're going to work with the Anunnaki someday, fine. Good luck for you. Good luck. Have fun. Do it. All these UFO people talk about the good aliens, and we're going to talk to them. And what are they going to say? I went over this yesterday. I'm not going to go over that again. So when the soul comes here, they're in the reality, learning what they are as a soul. How do they do that? By trial and error. Getting out of your body for the first time, no matter how many lifetimes it takes, is the first step that you need. All the schooling, college, programming, people you're around, the stories they tell you have nothing to do with helping you attain realization as a soul. Now people talk about soul a little and different things, but it is you, and it's not your higher self. It is you, period. And you don't change it to anything else. It stays what it is, a soul, a human soul in this body. But when it's out of the body, it's not human. It doesn't have a human body no more. So the concept that we perceive and we work hard to attain is limited to our awareness. I listen to the great lamas, Buddhas, and all these people talk, and they twist and make it sound complicated or make it sound really different. And it's simple. Soul is simple. All right? It's not complicated. And it's not about dealing with karma and all these words. Yeah, that's what we deal with while we're here, because we create it. Soul doesn't have to go through 90% of the karma that it creates for itself. But the entities, the things around it, make people accept it. I was doing hypnosis when I was 12. I met Kreskin and I learned how I started doing hypnosis. But he called it the power of suggestion. All right? I mean, Hitler did it to his people. People that talk to people in the mass consciousness, even when you go to a workshop or whatever it is, if they're talking at a level to make you accept it, if one person accepts it, that energy flows around and people start accepting it. It's like how you become famous. If one person says, well, they healed me, the next person, oh, they healed him, oh, they'll heal me. And then it's the energy that's created by that idea. And it's the power of suggestion. The same as if you're in a theater and you cough, everybody starts coughing, you sneeze, everybody starts sneezing, because everybody becomes aware of that energy. Become aware of God energy, become aware of self, of soul, and it becomes different. You don't have to live different. You don't have to love different. And love is not the answer to your true foundation of who you are as a soul. You didn't come down here to find love of reality of this realm. And I'll try to explain that as I move forward in today's workshop, because as you move forward, you have to let go of everything you believe. Nothing you believe is probably even close to the truth. Everything you think about God is a lie. Everything you think about spirit is a lie. Being with angels, I'll get into that because that's where you need to break down what you believe. Religions teach one thing. All right, they teach about heaven, the heaven that does not exist. That's the first fallacy. All right, I could tell you, I'm not going to go into all the religious stories because I'm not going to fight with religions on this. I'm trying to teach you something. not debate all these liars and storytellers and everything else that's going on. The Bible has very little truth in it. Time frames are close, but what was really happening was not true and not real. Jesus' own people helped kill him. 90% of the people that were with Jesus helped kill him. And all I can say, if you looked at Jesus in the eyes, you would never be the same, ever. And you couldn't. But most people still can't do it today. Look somebody in the eyes and look inside and see who they really are. Because they're afraid to open themselves up. Native people don't do it. They're afraid to have their picture taken. Afraid you'll steal their spirit. So, the limitations that the mind puts on the body keeps the body here. The things that keep the mind limited is the entities and the demons and everything else around us, including your mother and father. Because they're not aware. When you become aware, you can really search spiritual truth. And there's very few souls on this planet today that are at any high spiritual level. I challenge anybody to prove it. Prove you're spiritual. Well, I can levitate a piece of paper. Does that make you spiritual? See, the idea of what spiritual is the word you have to learn while you're here as a soul. What will make you spiritual? Not much here. You could help 1,000 people, donate all your money, do a lot of things. That's just being good in where you vibrate. Step out of this vibration, like Buddhism believes in the bardo. It's hell in a different reality. But you don't have to go there either. But where your attention goes, you usually go. So when you die, soul is hanging on to the last thoughts the mind created. So here's the 5 words, and I'll break them down. Lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. Lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. 5. I break them down to what they really are. For man, sex, drugs, sports, drinking, cheap thrills, and fake love. All right? Now, that's what holds a man's attention. Nothing else. Not God, not angels, none of that have anything to do with what man thinks about. All right? Now, when you attach to any one of them, even if it's cars, I love cars. I'm going to come back and get more cars. I'm going to be the best football player. It's a mind program thinking this body's important. Now, all the speakers out there are trying to tell you how important you are. You are not important to God in hell. That's the truth. Whether you want to accept that, it might be the hardest thing. Oh, no, that's ridiculous, crazy. No, it's true. What can you do for God here? Save somebody? Can God save them? We talk like we got superpowers. We can do super great things here. We can't. Making weapons and toys is all man does. So when we talk about dying, are you going to let go of all these programmed thoughts you have? Your connection to your family, your children, your relatives, your friends. Oh, I don't want to leave them. Oh, I'll meet them in heaven. No, you won't. All these psychics. All right. What's the first thing they tell you? Your sister, your mother, your father. Oh, they're there watching you and they love you. If I saw my father again, it would be the saddest thing because I crossed him over, but I never want to see that soul again, period. I was with my mother. She reincarnated. I crossed my ex-wife's father over. And at the time, I didn't even know what I was doing, but I did. I worked with angels a lot. I worked with a deity at my childhood for 10 years almost. And I worked with 2 more deities. They don't teach you anything about planet Earth. It's not you go to a deity and they're going to say, well, do 100 Hail Marys or put this statue in front of you and bow down to it 1,000 times a day. I mean, all the things man creates is because it doesn't know better. And when people attack me, I don't care. I'm not going to be here much longer. I mean, I know nobody likes the truth. I spent 2 years in going through history to find any spiritual person that ever existed. And what happened to them? 90% of them were killed. A few of them had a major disease and were dying for many years. I mean, even the newest one of the newer religions, Ekankar, he was poisoned and it took him a year before he died. I mean, Gandhi, he was trying to bring a message out. They killed him. Anybody with any spiritual truth is. What kind of sickness would create that? Only Satan. If you want a word, the demon, darkness. We all have to go through the dragon, the dark side of ourselves, before we can get out of this reality. Meaning, look at everything that's on the dark side of you. We all have it. You may not want to believe it, or talk about it, or think about it, but you do have to go through it. And if you don't, you're not going to understand it. So when we get closer to the middle of our lives, we're fine-tuning what we want to do with the rest of our lives, which is what? Get a good job, make good money. Most people don't think about anything other than that. And now rich people and only can say they think about making things so much easier so that we don't have to do it. When you're young and you're going to get your driver's license, isn't that the most coolest thing? Imagine you don't get your driver's license no more. You just get a new car with a new machine programmed mind. And you don't ever get to drive no more. Everything's going to be taken away from you, whether you realize that or not. Right? Because man wants it that way. I said this yesterday, and I talk about him a lot, Jacques Cousteau, because he was one of my idols. And he talked about his last vision was a satellite dish with a head in it, and it did everything from there. It just has a mind do whatever it wanted to do. Because we won't need our arms, our feet, our hands, or anything. If we're going to have robots do everything for us, what are you going to need? You're not going to want to do farming. You're not going to do plumbing. What are you going to want to do? Just sit there and watch it. And what? Watch what? What makes you feel good? Really? I mean, it depends. What? Sex, happiness, cartoons. What do you watch that's going to make you feel good? That you don't have to do anything to be involved with it. Have sports. Sports is like the biggest attachment to a man's brain, and even now women's brains as well. It is useless. If you're doing it to stay healthy, it's one thing. If you're doing it to make money, it's a totally different thing. Football players getting that kind of money when half of the United States is starving is ridiculous. An actor, all right, getting paid that kind of money is ridiculous. Well, they deserve it. They deserve it for what? Entertaining you? I could entertain you, but I don't want to. It's not about that. It's not going to help you move forward. Let me just check one thing here. No, Tina's okay. All right, people. It's not her sick. It has to do with her family right now. All right. She'll be back next Tuesday, hopefully. She's always on my mind because she's one of the top people in the UFO world that's been abducted and has a lot more proof than all the rest of them. But I don't want to go into that right now. So when you're starting to think about where do you want to go? How do you want to go? What are you going to do to get there? When you're 16, you're not too much looking forward for the distant future. You're looking about partying, being happy, getting a girlfriend. When you get a girlfriend, it changes. Then you think about getting married and having children. Hopefully, if that's what you want a marriage for. And then where do you go? Well, I want to take care of my children. It's about living here. Your attention is not moving forward. If you're stuck in one place, you're not going to move forward. The inner worlds, what I'm saying, when you learn how to leave your body, all right, is the most important thing. Then there's other things. When people talk about protection, it's not like protecting the physical body from physical things. It's called protection from entities, demons, and all the other things that exist when you leave your body. If you're not an aware being, meaning aware of God, aware of many other things, you are under attack. That's why there's more possessionings happening now than ever in the history of the world. But because people are on drugs, smoking, drinking, which cuts their awareness down, and it makes it so much easier for something to step in to take over. And too many people are willing to let go because they don't know how to stop it. And then even in the middle of it, they still don't even know what's happening. Most people don't even know that they're possessed and being used and all those kind of words. All right. But when you become a little more aware and can understand what motions, what feelings are real, which ones aren't, which ones are man-made, which ones are not. When you experience things of the inner worlds, it doesn't relate in the physical world. Now, you say, well, how could that be? Because here, everything's solid. Everything has a solid vibration, all right? And each has a high pitch, low pitch vibration sound. And when you leave the body and you go into the next realm, that realm of vibration changes. It's much higher, much more spread out. So nothing's solid. I mean, I can't put my hand through the TV. I can bust it, but I can't go inside it. All right. When you're in the next realm, you have a lot more abilities to do different things like that. And you have to learn how to use them because you just don't learn how to fly a plane without getting taught how to fly a plane. You know, even riding a horse. If you can ride a horse right away, you probably did in another lifetime, and soul just knows it. Many things you go, well, I know I can do this. Why? Because you already did it. Now, what I was going to try to say, the average soul, when it comes back, will have to stick his hand in fire to know that fire is hot and how hot and what it really means. You think after you did it 10 times, you wouldn't want to do it anymore. But see, the 100th monkey is a fallacy, a make-believe story as well. You don't learn that way. Soul has to learn it itself. Every soul has to learn what it needs to learn for itself, not for the whole world, other alien races or other planets. It's for itself. Now, it's sad because people are waiting for all these things to happen, like good aliens to come down. We're very close to a big major war, which we are already in. I mean, where it actually affects the United States greatly. All right. But people don't want to think about that. Where do you want to place your attention? Price of oil, price of gas, price of what? And when they say we'll never need oil, we'll always need oil. It's a delusional idea to think we don't need oil anymore. I mean, all these, even in UFO, well, the vibration, the higher energy, and radioactive fields can change things. Sure, they can. But you're not going to want to live inside a radioactive field, are you? Which a lot of things do produce, like the HARP system. People, there's so many things that you get pulled into, believe, and feel are important while you're here. But when you step out of your body the first time and you're looking at that person sitting in the chair, which is you, and you're over here looking at it, and you look around and you float up to the ceiling or something, it changes you completely. You're not that thing stuck on the ground. I mean, you don't need to eat. You don't need to do all the things that the body needs to be done here. You don't get sick and things like that. Now, the only way I could relate that to you to help you understand it at any level, let's see what's the closest thing I have. Let me just get one little thing. See that? It's called a flashlight. Okay, a flashlight, all right? But technology took the idea of a light and created something more toxic, dangerous. You see that? It's high tech, all right? That could start a fire. It could burn things. It could do anything. But it's a different energy, and man likes to play with energy, but it has nothing to do with who and what we are. This is not me. So we all say we're all one. We're all connected. We're not all connected to anything. We're not even connected to each other. All right. When you have a family, you're connected to that family in the physical reality. But when you each die, you go somewhere. Something happens. Now, karma, Buddha talked about, greatly, all right, is really important, because your karma is what you create in this reality and all your other lifetimes. I don't want to go into that monkey thing today. Different topic. Sorry. Uh, when you do that, all right, you need to find out what and really is going on within you. What's your next step? And there's thousands of steps you're going to be taking. It's not like you graduate college and then you got to go out into the world. There's always another step. Now, God realization is the highest you can attain in this reality. It doesn't mean you become God. When you die, you don't become God. You don't become anything close to it. You're still in the astral plane. And there's 5 levels which you got to go through, and your vibration changes within each one of them. All right. Now, people can't talk about a lot of things, including what I call little gods, meaning not God itself. I mean, out of this whole planet, maybe 2 souls, 3 souls get to see God in this reality. But the little gods, like Jehovah, Satnam, little gods, I call them little gods, control the lower realms that they're in charge of. And you have to go past them as well when you leave the astral plane. All right, your karma determines where you go from the astral plane to back here. If you worked out your karma, then you gotta move past those gods, Satnam, uh, Jehovah. Lucifer's there as well, people, whether you want to know it or not. All right, he was the angel of light. He was called the angel of light. Man likes to twist things, like mixing Lucifer with Satan, uh, Lucifer as the bad angel. All the angels fell. Well, most of them, not all of them, sorry. But a lot of them fell. Why? People don't talk about that. Who asked him? Who wrote it? Who channeled and not channeled? Who actually worked with him? Channel is channel energy. They channel entities. All right. You think Gabriel is with every person on this planet working with them? How many people say they're working with Gabriel? You think Michael's with every single person on this planet because they all call him? You think Jesus is with everybody because everybody calls Jesus? Why would Jesus want to work with the mass killer, a rapist, any of those words? Even a liar, a cheater, a thief. Well, to help them forgive themselves? No. They got to work that out. Uh, you know, this world is changing rapidly and not for the better. We have been working on weapons for the past 70 years. And I debated somebody, oh, you can't destroy this planet. Oh, yes, we can. But I'm not saying it won't destroy the reality that these souls have to stay on. There'll be another one created and souls will be put back on it. It's that simple. You'll put on this one and you can be put back on another one. All right. So when you think about death, what do you think about? Now, I want you to do this for yourself, people. And I try to get people, greetings, how you doing? You gotta realize and look at who and what you are, what's going on in your world, and what things really mean to you. You get used to saying, well, I believe this or I believe that because somebody said it, your mom told you this, your dad told you that, blah, blah, blah. But do you believe it? They don't know what they're talking about. They tell you Santa Claus is real, and then they tell you it's not. They tell you the Easter Bunny is real, and then they tell you not. They tell you Jesus is real, and then they tell you, oh, he's real. They tell you God's real. Oh, he's real. But they have no proof. They don't believe it themselves, truly. All right. So when you start thinking about that, get out a paper and pencil. Now, this is going to be your work. I can't do these things for you. Because the only way you're going to realize and understand things is by you going through the experience. Not me. I went through it. I don't need the experience again. All right. As you do that, you're going to ask yourself questions. And the first question I want you to ask yourself, put on a piece of paper, life and death, and draw a line down the middle. What does life mean to you? Write down what it really means to you. Love, family, children, food, uh, sports. I mean, write down all the things that make you feel life is important. Then, write, why do you think you're important? All right. On the other side, write the word death, and what do you think it means to you then? What do you think is going to happen when you die? What do you believe is going to happen? What do you think you can do to change any of that or make it real, better, or worse? And there's many things you could do to make it better, many things you could do to make it worse. All right, like how you die is the first thing, and then how fast you reincarnate. So those two things are really critical based on what you do. So when you say you're here to save the world, save mankind, I was told that, but I don't care. I mean, I'm not putting my attention on that at all because, the world has to vibrate at a certain vibration. Everybody's willing or not willing to move forward. If everybody was willing to move forward, this world would be incredible. No doubt about it. But man's not ready to take that step. They're still persecuting women. 30. I'm 69. And I started my spiritual UFO quest at 6 years old. Never stopped. I went through every experience that you need. I can't be abducted, so I wasn't never actually on a ship. I was next to a ship. I was next to an alien. But they couldn't get me on a ship, couldn't make me get on a ship. And I saved my brother from being put on a ship. So, yeah, those things are a little bit different for me. All right. But for you, where is your next step? What are you willing to do? Are you willing to even do 10 minutes, an hour, in your own exploring who and what you believe? I mean, everybody says they have their truth. That's all I hear. What truth? What's your truth? Take another piece of paper, put on that truth, and put it down. Write it down what your truth is. And you're going to find out there's not much you can put there. Because you don't have one. Oh, I believe in what? The fairy godmother? Tinkerbell? Batman? What do you believe in? Well, I believe in Jesus. For what reason? Why? See, you need to explore and prove to yourself why you would believe something, why you would accept something. Because the Bible said so. Like when, I'm not going to go into stories, but when, I'm bad with names. I can't remember names at all. But when Abraham or somebody was forced up in the mountain and he was told to kill his child and he's going to kill his child, really? Do you think God would tell you to do something bad? See, man's belief systems are so twisted, and they have to make stories to make people believe certain things. But it's all lies, people. Again, you're not here to dwell and stay in the muck of this reality. It's not getting better, people. Money, food, everything is not getting better. Nothing's better. Everything you're told about sugar, salt, and all these things. We didn't have no problems when I was little. All the kids in my school didn't have any kind of sickness, disease, or things like that. And there was only one heavy person. So now the average school is 60% overweight. Half of them have different kind of sicknesses and everything else. So you don't think there's something different? And I can't go into all those details because it's not where I want to go with this workshop today. But the answers are there. Why they took away real sugar and replaced it with fake sugar. Why they even took away salt and made fake salt. Everything to do what to your body? Well, think about it. I'm not going to give you all the answers. Not today. I'm going to give you the first steps you need to take for yourself. Now, if you started this already, go over what you already did and see what you might have missed in your thinking about who and what you are, why you're here, where you're going, how you're going to get there, why it's not happening. That why it's not happening is a really important thing to think about. All right, now, karma is critical. If you have a heavy load of karma, it's really hard to move forward. So I would suggest then it's a lot more important to see what your karma is. See what you did in other lifetimes that's going to make you stay here another lifetime. And then maybe you can figure some way to get out of it. But that'll be up to you at that point. But listening to other people, nobody can come up to you and heal you of your karma. Nobody, not one person on this planet. They can make you think it's better or gone, but it's not. You can go to a healer and say, "Oh, I feel great," and walk away. You know how many people went to a Christian, born again Christian healer and got tapped on the head and said, "Wow, now I could walk"? For how long? 30 days, 2 months, and then they collapse with major bone problems and everything else? A healing's temporary. A sickness is usually given to you for a reason, all right? Because it's paying out your karma. Everything you go through, good or bad, is working or paying your karma. Now, killing, forget it. You're not going to be able to pay that off too easy, not in this lifetime. And all those other bad words that go along with it. You can't pay it off by saying, well, I'm going to say I'm sorry. Really? No, it doesn't work that way. You change reality that's not yours to change, you kill somebody. You change mass productions of families that could be here or that will not be here now. You're playing God. When they discovered, I'm not going to go into the details, but the Philadelphia experiment, when they went back in time, they killed somebody a long time ago in the present. So guess what? They changed, altered history. They had to go back and rechange it, rewrite it, redo it, what they did. I'm not going to go into those details, but they created a disaster for the planet today. So, when we play with time, when we play with things that are not supposed to be played with, we screw things up. When aliens give Tesla all these inventions and what we start playing with them, guess what? We're falling right into their hands, not God's hands, not Spirit's hands, into alien beings' hands. Well, what's a positive thought? What's a positive feeling, for a person? World peace, world love. A most ridiculous idea. What is a positive thought? All children get fed, all children are not abused. Well, that's a thought, okay, but it's not positive unless you're doing something positive to make it happen. Action is what is needed, not prayer. When a person prays, they're praying to themselves. When they do an action, they're helping the reality of this world. So instead of saying, well, I pray for all the starving people around the planet, how much food can you donate? How many people can you help? Do the best you can. But that's not going to change your karma. It's like stepping into hell, looking at what's going on. I'm going to fix that. That's too hot over there. Oh, it's too hot over there. Let's stop the fire. Really? No. You do the best you can while you're in it. But you got to reside within yourself, knowing that you're not this, you're that, meaning soul. Most souls have so much negativity, negative karma to pay off, and they can't see the good part. They don't get the good part. The good part is getting out of the body, not getting money in the bank or somebody sending you a check. I mean, yeah, you might think that's good. It's good for a while. Money's good in most people's eyes, but it's the root to all evil. I went over that yesterday. Money is the destruction to this world. Native tribes, native people never dealt with money. They worked with each other. They worked together as a group consciousness. That's when they could say, well, we're one, because we work together as one. We don't work as one as people. How many countries are there? We're all separate. Two people are killing each other right now in great numbers. Why? Because they have no awareness. They don't have no God. Without God, there can never be world peace. But then again, you'd have to ask yourself, what would peace really mean? Well, more souls are going to die every second there's people dying everywhere. And where's their attention? What are they thinking? Where are they going to go? Not too far, they'll reincarnate. The average soul reincarnates within our time frame about 5 to 10 years. That realm, it seems so much longer because the time's spaced out much longer. But when you leave here and you get to stay in the astral plane, you're going to be happy. Because you don't have to eat, you don't have to walk, you don't have to do different things. You can't be killed. It's different. But it's also another long program to work out. Because the closer you get to something, now try to figure it this way, the closer you get to what you want, the more you have what you really want. That means the more you're going to be attached to the moment that you're in. So each moment gets better because you're attached and in the new moment. But it's also stopping you from going to the next moment, which is even better. And you have to always tell yourself there's always another step to take, even when you reach God. All right? I'm not going to go into that, but there's another step and another step. Always. There's never a finish. God's never going to be finished. Oh, it's all that it is, all it was, it knows everything. And no, it changes and grows. Why do you think dinosaurs were here? Then aliens and people and everything. It changes. It becomes more aware. Just think, every time you become aware, that spark goes into God. So take 10 billion universes with different kind of aliens and beings and everything else, and they each take a little step above whatever they're at. That all goes back to God. I mean, do you think God would have created a world with evil people on it if it knew what it was creating at that time? We have a reality, and God realized that mankind likes to be in the negative side. So that's why hell was created. But hell's not a place to go to if you're bad. It's a place to get out of when you're good. It's just the opposite. So dying means getting out of hell. It doesn't mean staying in hell or going to hell. All right. Feelings, emotions, the five senses of the body are what control our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, what we do, how we do it, why we do it. 99% of the time. Soul doesn't get to say, well, that's useless. That's a useless cause. That's not real. Because mind doesn't listen. Mind's a computer chip. That's all it is. It's programmed. If a baby's not given any programs, what's it aware of? Nothing. Animals learn different things. Throw a baby in the wilderness, how long is it going to survive? It won't. All right. Soul's the same thing. It's holding on to what it has because it doesn't know better. And as long as it's holding on to what it has, it's not growing further or past that point of being aware. So, death is an important thing. But working to understand it, working to prepare for what's going to happen when it does happen, understanding what you're going to do after it happens is critical. Death is a short period of time. I mean, when you leave this body to the next. I mean, some people suffer for years, some people suffer for days, some people suffer for hours, some people suffer for minutes. But it's the point from going from one point to the other. Life in the physical body, life outside of the body. Two separate points. They're not the same. And you most likely never experience the one outside the body, which is critical. But here's what I want to tell while I'm talking about death. I had 5 death experiences. I listened to every person that claims they had a death experience. I'm in a site that's all about it. I just wrote a couple letters in there yesterday. But listening to what they say. Now, when you get a death experience, you're not physically completely dead. All right? Your body could be dead for a second. The soul steps back in it. The heart starts beating again. All right? But that moment is where soul becomes aware of itself. But the mind gets active when you step back in the body. So whatever that experience was is usually cut and changed into what a mind can perceive. What I'm going to say is 90%, I'm saying at least 90% of people that have a death experience say the same thing. I met my grandmother, I met my aunt, met my uncle, met my son, met this, or I met Jesus, I met God, and he told me to come back. Okay. Now, what beneficial was that? Did you learn anything really? Think you're spiritual now because that happened? No. But when that happens, you gotta be aware of what's really going on. The mind can't perceive it because you're not in the solid physical reality that we're in this body. You're in your astral body. It's different. So when you're there, you can do things that you can't do with anything on this reality. So to say that you're going to see your grandmother and just sit there and talk to her and she's going to tell you to come back, really? The programmed ideas of people that never had the experience of death and came back. They want to believe. It's a wannabe lifestyle that they're going to want to meet their grandfather, they want to meet their family. You want to meet a family, die to hang out with your family? Why would you have to think in a, say you're a god and you create this reality? All right, they're going to die, so let's put them over here and let them all go back together. To do what? What are you going to do with your family when you get back together with them on the astral plane? How are you going to get around? You don't have to drive, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to eat. Well, I want to eat, so let's have a party, let's eat. What do you think can really happen if you meet your family? Psychics tune into energy. Every soul has an energy that vibrates here. Even when they die, their energy lingers for a while. I can't say how long everybody's energy survives, but it survives anywhere 5, 10, 20 years. I was doing Ghostbusting in Juma Mansion when I was 20, from 18 on. But Madame Jumel still haunts that house. But she doesn't want to leave. So is that a good thing or bad thing? It's bad for her as far as becoming spiritually aware. She won't attain it. So when we talk about death and where you're going to go, who you're going to see, and what do you think you're going to do, your mind's going to perceive and want to create a lot of things for it to happen. So when you have a death experience, oh, I'm back. God told me to come back. Why? What are you supposed to do that you didn't do? Become aware of soul, meaning who and what you are. Because when you go, you need to be aware that you're going and make that decision to leave when you're an aware being. I had that chance. I still have it. All right. When you can attain that space, all right, and you realize that you're really close to being in that space where you can make that decision, it's a different story. Meaning I want to leave. All right. How many people want to leave? Well, I'll leave when I have to leave, because you have to leave. The astral plane is incredible to this plane. Again, you can't be killed. You don't have to eat. You can eat as much as you want. But you pick an age, and that's the age you'll be. You're not going to get old walking around the earth. I can't walk no more. Soul doesn't have to take on that. It's a mind game here, which is programmed into the body. And the body has to accept it. Our bodies are perfect. You know that, people? Really. The immune system in our body could destroy every disease that comes in it until mankind created thousands or more that it can't. Somebody was talking about lymphocytes being bad. Lymphocytes are what destroy whatever bad cells in your body. They push it into the bloodstream and then they push it out of the body. But you only have a small army in your body. And when you take thousands or more entities, creatures, whatever you want to call it, bacteria into your body, they can't fight it. So your body's no longer strong enough to fight it. So it's a lot different here than on the astral plane, because your body's a light energy already. It's a lot more lighter, for a word, I mean, if you took a solid object and what would be, not, we don't have anything that you can just move through it, but air. I mean, a cloud, and you put your hand to a cloud, all right, versus putting your hand to a piece of glass. You can't. So the difference within that is the difference between here and the astral plane. When you pick an age, most people, and I see this, I stayed there for a long time, from 26 to 36. Some people pick a child. Don't ask me why. Want to stay a child. They like that, but they're not going to grow as much being a child there. All right. The astral plane, which will keep them more attached to that realm, because then when you don't know the bad stuff, good stuff is good. Like I said, you can't kill somebody on the astral plane. Well, I'm not going to go into that in detail, but you cannot kill somebody on the astral plane. So while you're there, you can enjoy it, and things are great. But see, you're not dealing with the same five senses of the body: smell, taste, sight, touch, and all that. Because soul is much more, like I was trying to show you, a light. All right. When I put this light on, and I mean, you see it there. All right. You can go through it, go around it, hold it, cover it. All right. But can you really do anything to it? Um, what can you do to light? All right. And the closer you become to your astral body, the more you are in touch with the etheric part of who you and what you really are. Well, somebody put that. I have to say this. My favorite phrase, and I say it on every show. I put it on every site, must site, gate site, every day I can. What Jesus said many times. I told you I reincarnated from that lifetime. Well, he said it many times then, and it's in the Bible 3 times as well. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Think about that. And it's so real. While they think they can get into heaven, where I said Bazo can't, so he's actually trying to make medicines to stay here forever. Because he'd reincarnate and he wouldn't be aware of who he was in the last life. So that would be a little bit sad for him, in his mind anyway. But to let go of where he's programmed to be right now, the money, because money's not the answer for anything. Oh, we could cure sickness. We can cure all the disease. We could put people in homes and sell shelters and protect everybody. Well, we don't do that without money, do we? How much money is given to that? We give more money to prisoners. Why is that? Why do we make prisoners at home spend like $50,000 to $150,000 per person per year? Homeless people don't get that. Good people don't get that, but murderers and everybody else does. Does that make any sense, people? Mankind doesn't live by any kind of rules anymore. Morals, they don't have any. Where the programming comes from, it's not from anything good. Who would program you to say, let's feed a prisoner 3 good meals a day, give them all the tools and toys to play with while they're in there? They're in there for a reason. I mean, some countries, it's not anything close to what we have in the United States. Nothing close. I remember the 3-ring prison. I don't know what country it was. The center of the circle was where the bad people go, and they don't get fed no more. The only thing they get is if anybody from the second ring throws food over into their circle. The second circle do everything and anything for money. They'll cut people's fingers off for a pack of cigarettes or anything like that. The third ring is the ring for the people getting out. But imagine being in a prison like that. It'd be super scary, toxic, dangerous, and everything else. But no, we got this prison. Well, give them nice clothes, give them air conditioning, let them eat nice 3 meals a day, and play tennis, sports, weightlifting, whatever they want. Is that the right way? And then they think they're going to reform them. You don't give people that are bad good things to reform them, do you? If your child blows up a car, are you going to give him a car to play with, to drive around it right away? Another car? Going to give him more gasoline to play with? What are you going to do for that kid? All right. We don't respect morals. Mankind has dropped them. right? Karma, which is deteriorating in man's mind, thinking, I don't got no karma. You do, or you wouldn't be sitting in hell. Look around you. Oh, it's beautiful. Is it? The plants are toxic, the ground's toxic, the air's toxic, the water's toxic. All right. What's not toxic? Every vitamin you take is toxic. Every medicine you take is toxic. The poor animals are dying all around you. The fish are dying. Everything's dying. So did you see the picture I put up? And I was into dolphins all my life, and it's just sad that we're killing them by toxins, and we're killing them because we want to eat them. Not we, certain countries, the Philippines, Japan, serve dolphins to children in school for their meals. They got whale restaurants, and they put that make believe ship around saying it's a scientific lab where they can whales and make meat out of it. We got a sick country here, we got a sick country there, and everywhere else. And people wonder why people are depressed, why depression's so high among children right now. All right, before you die, before we go or anything else, let's go back to being young. When you're young, meaning I'd say 1 to 3, when you're becoming an aware entity, all right, you don't know how to speak, you don't need to speak yet, but you see light. That's all they see. They see angels, they see beings, they see a lot of different things. They see entities, demons. They see everything because everything's not veiled, covered to them at that age. So if they had a parent that was half aware, even halfway aware, helping that child can grow incredibly in a more spiritual way than a mental way. Not mentally sick, but mentally, physically into this reality. Going beyond that. School doesn't teach you anything important. It doesn't teach you about a real relationship, what love really could be or is. How cheating and all those things shouldn't be in your space to happen. If you believe in a God, everything changes in your life. Then belief is one thing, changes a lot of things in your life. But when you know God's real, then everything becomes solid. You know that you can't do this. You know you can't do that. You know you should do this. You know you should do that. Big difference. It doesn't change everything. I mean, the little things in your life, how you have sex and what you're going to drink and things, that you got to be aware of. But the second it hurts another person, you have karma. And that karma is going to tear you apart. See, we look at things and we justify things because, put it this way, if 1 million people say we shouldn't have an abortion, one person says we have to have an abortion. It's a battle. It's been battling on for how long now? A woman's right to do whatever they want with their body is a man's mission to take care of and decide? No, it's not. Never should be, never was their right. So, women have been abused all their life. All the lifetimes that they have been here, back to the beginning of time. In Atlantis, women were not slaves. They were not separate than men were. But I truly believe the mischanging of man today, not in Greek days and the older days, but more so today, because of the story of Adam and Eve. Well, women came from our ribs. Really? So that would make them less than you because they came from you. It's just an idea. The Pope said that wasn't a real story as well, but who cares what he says? These people talk like they have the truth. Do I talk like I have the truth? And I'll say I do. I put my life on the line, and I'm responsible to God. If I'm lying, take me out right this second. The Pope can lie and lie and lie, and he does. He wants to rewrite the Ten Commandments, which he's trying. He rewrote the idea that hell doesn't exist. Really? You're in it. Of course it exists. But you don't want to look at where you are, so I guess you're not going to admit that it's real. People, we have to look at the truth, and very few people will. or want to or will ever. And people say, well, you don't have a big phone. I don't want a big phone because most people will never listen to the truth. They like stories, they like fantasy, they like everything other than the truth. The truth's never really good. Give up this, give up that. Well, that's the truth. You can't kill? Oh, why not? You can't murder? Why not? Sports is so important? No, it's not. But in your mind, it is. Why? It entertains you? You ever watch a bunch of drunk people watching sports, screaming and yelling over a TV screen? Really? Are they learning anything? Are they getting anything out of it other than a cheap thrill, which I mentioned? All right. Cheap thrills is what gives men most of their time in this reality. Skiing, jumping off a mountain, hang gliding, jumping out of a plane, all those things, bungee jumping, anything where there's a that you can die. All right. Meaning, if you die, all right, guess what? It's over. But the thrill of not getting there, almost getting there, is the thrill. Mountain climbing is the most ridiculous thing in my mind. One slip and you're dead. And that makes it so exciting. Adrenaline pushes through your body and everything else, and you slip and you almost fall off or something happens. Wow, what a thrill. We live on thrills. A thrill is a short couple seconds usually. I mean, if you're hanging on with one hand off the end of a cliff, knowing that sooner or later you're going to die, it's a little bit longer than a couple seconds, but you know it's going to be over. So, what do you want out of life? A big thrill, cheap thrill, more cheap thrills? What? Cheap thrills don't last. I could tell you every cheap thrill I had in my life, and I mean, none of them are important to me. They were for a split second. Getting married lasts how long? You buy a dress that costs how much money? And what do you do with that dress? Money. It's always money being wasted no matter what you do. And if a person's doing something, they can charge you more money, they're going to charge you a lot more money to do it. Let's make sure I think that's a number I should answer, but I'll get it later. All right. But what I'm going to tell you is time's running out. We go to war and say, like, countries like Russia and Iran, Iraq, and all these countries that are fighting, they're all fighting right now. How many people are dying daily? Over that, I mean, from that reason, a weapon, a bomb, a gun, a bullet, or things like that. I mean, I'm not talking about people that get sick with something we call a virus and everything else that's happening. But are you aware that none of that really matters? Can you accept that idea? I'm going to ask you to write down the things that I already told you to do, what life is about to you, what death is about to you, what's important in life, and what do you think will be important in death. Because it's hard to get into things like that until you get into a space where you can be within it. All right, when you understand what you're going through. All right, you're in a car accident, now you're in a hospital and you're laid up. You might be thinking, hey, I almost died. I almost died. And what's that mean? I won't be here no more. And what's that mean? I wouldn't be able. What? What do you think you're going to do after you die? Very few people have a clue, and that's very important, especially when you're getting close to death. I mean, you could have a heart attack and die and not know it, but if you're sick and you're going to be dead in a week or a month or a year, knowing that is critical. It can make the rest of this life and where you're going incredible. But if you don't try and don't really put the attention on it, it's not going to happen. Yeah. All right. I'm not going to get into the dolphin thing. I always followed dolphins all my life, but they're as smart as we are. And people eat them. I can't eat pork because pigs are almost close to our DNA and close to us in a lot of ways as well. But, you know, People will eat anything that moves, and that's a program they were given. Moses was against it. Read his 613 months, but he talks about what foods you can eat, what you can't eat. I mean, he cut a lot of food out of their diet, but today there's nothing cut out of our diet. From worms, caterpillars, bees, snakes, you name it. Man will eat it. Anything that was alive, it would eat. Period. And then the way they eat it is even more disgusting. And mankind is pathetic. I know Mandokani 1 and 2 was showing all the horrible things around the world. The way they eat monkeys in some countries, what they do to cats, dogs, all those things. We're sick. We're a sick race, people. Whether you want to realize that or not, so what I'm going to say is, do what I asked you. Write down those things on a piece of paper. For yourself, not for me. It's not going to help me. But it will help you. Just to think about what you think you know. I mean, people, did you even ask me a question that you don't know or you think I don't know? Go ahead. All right. When you have a death experience, you kind of know everything. About life and death, anyway. About God, about spirit, about angels, all those things. Hopefully you learn to work with them before you die, which is a good thing. If you try too hard, which I tell people, you push too hard on a door that opens in, it won't open. You need to sit back. And I'll say this, people. I tell people, do a drug one time if you have to. Because, letting go is really hard. Your mind's like, it's my mind. But to break it open and just to be free for reality of what soul is an incredible experience. So the first time you step out of your body, it will change your reality completely, like it did me. And it's no longer somebody saying, well, you can't do that, it's not real, it's make-believe. No, it's real. No, it's not, it's fake. No, it's not, it's real. I mean, you could debate people, especially when they don't have the truth. They'll go on with nothing. And it's funny, I learned how to debate in school. In 8th grade, we had a geography teacher that made us debate countries. We had to learn all about the country, and everybody could ask us questions about the country. It helped me learn about aspects of that. That's how I can remember things and all that kind of stuff, because I'm bad with dates, names, completely. All right. But as far as what a person looks like, what they look like 10 years from now, 50 years now, I can still determine that right away. What a person's energy is, where they are spiritually, psychically. I don't even like to do it because nobody's anywhere important anymore. You can't walk down the street and see beautiful blue light auras around people. You can't. They're so depressed and everything else, smoking and drinking, their aura is not pure. And it can't be. The more you smoke, the more your aura gets holes in it. And if you're an aware being, you can see it. And it doesn't take that much to learn it. You can learn that very simply. Well, look, I started this workshop today. I'm going to take it to another level next time because I want you to do the simple things I asked you to do if you're listening to this show. Before you take part 2, at least deal with part 1. Learn and figure and see and work out what and who you are. What's really important to you, what your truth is, why you want to become spiritual, why do you think death is not important, why do you think it is important? Because I said so? I sure hope not. But you will die no matter what you do, what you take, what you drink, what you eat. No matter who you pray to, you're still going to die. Sai Baba had one of the biggest followings on the planet. And he prophesied supposedly every time he died when he'd come back. But the last time, he got pneumonia, went in the hospital and died. Nothing else came out of it. All right, no matter how far you think you move spiritually, or say you are, look in the mirror and look at yourself. Say, are you really what you say you are? You probably aren't. Well, people, have a good day, have a good night. Hope you got something out of today. Please send my link to everybody you know. Like I said, this is an open workshop. I'm going to keep it open and answer any questions. Text me, Skype me, Hawksblood11. Gizmo, stop. All right, I gotta let him go, but I'm gonna let you go too, people. Peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. Hope you get it, work at it, and don't stop. Till next time.